All right, so what I try to do every year is I try to take the dads away from the kids so that we can bounce ideas off of each other and try to get an understanding of maybe how to be a better parent, better dad, better coach, better person. And so I try to get a variety of different speakers. I had Coach Shields from NKU one year, Coach Brannon, I think Beaselwood here's one year. We had Terry Nelson last year. So to keep everything fair, I had a UC guy last year. I got to get a Xavier guy this year. So I went to Byron and said, hey, look, need you to come speak. You know, Byron will do a great job bouncing ideas off you guys, talking. Obviously, you know about his great career, and if you don't know, he's the all-time leading scorer at Xavier. Okay, he's the all-time leading scorer. I think he's top 25 all-time in the NCAA. Is that right? I don't know what number. He probably knows.
23, but
23, but nobody's. That was his uniform number too, by the way. I do know that. 23 was his uniform number. Byron played in the mid-'80s. He went to Moeller High School. Obviously, you know about his brother Barry. I think more people know more about Byron than Barry. Maybe not. Nephew Steven plays for the Celtics, was hurt towards the end of the year. And so he'll offer some great perspective on some things. And other than that, we've talked a little bit. And I think this will be a great opportunity for us as dads to kind of see what works, what doesn't work. Okay, year round, kids playing the same sport year round. Those are some of the things he's going to talk about in his experiences as a player and a coach. All right? So everybody give a round of applause to Byron.
Thanks, Shannon. I appreciate your time. I've known Shannon for a long time. When I first met him and Chris Mack were running around playing basketball in every gym possible. And I remember I had talked to Chris, and he made me a bet. He said, I bet you me and Shannon play more basketball than anybody you know. So I know he loves basketball. I know he's a great person. So anytime he asks me to do something, I'm going to do it just because I think he's a really good person and a good guy. So kind of to let you know a little bit about me, you know, I'm from Cincinnati. I come from a big family. There are 5 of us in our family. 4 boys. All the boys in my family got scholarships, and we all played multiple sports. We all played back in the day. I know it's different now. I'm old, but we all played baseball, basketball, and football. Just kind of the way we did it. We didn't like specialize. So we've had a lot of like experience dealing with coaches and role models, and now that I've kind of been through all that, I've got some just ideas I want to share with you on something that I think can help you with your children if they're going to be involved in sports. My oldest brother Michael got a scholarship to play football at Notre Dame. Barry got a baseball scholarship to play baseball at Michigan. I played at Xavier. My little brother played baseball at Texas. So 4 of us have all got scholarships. I told my dad, like, boy, we saved you a lot of money in college tuition, you know. And then my oldest sibling is actually my sister. She's a doctor now in Mississippi. She went to that other school across the river at Black and Red. In spite of that, she did pretty well for herself. So big family. Not a lot of difference in our ages, about a year and a half, okay, between all of us. So a lot of people ask me, like, how did that happen? Like, you all have like all the boys in your family got scholarships in different sports. How did that happen? What did your parents do? What kind of environment was it at home? Basically, my dad and my mom, they just had 3 rules if you're gonna play sports. If you play sports, you're gonna show up on time, you are not gonna quit, and you're gonna behave. Those are the only 3 rules my parents had. If you did that, you were okay. So if you want to be the best player on the team, you want to be the worst, ride the bench, that's totally up to you. Okay, but my parents, and I have 2 children myself, so you know, I have a good perspective. I've got 2 girls, and you know, I coach them from when they were younger to high school. So I've got a good perspective on kind of the serious athlete and the not so serious. I remember I was coaching my youngest daughter, And I had to, it's really hard as, you know, a Joe Jock, and you have your kids, not to expect them to be like you. You know, like athletically, my daughter, I mean, I'd coach them, we get beat 32-3, and, you know, I get in the car and I'm like all pissed off, and, you know, I sat to say, hey, did you have a good time? You want to go get some ice cream? You know, and I'm buying. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, okay. You know, so you have to, you have to kind of like adjust your intensity level to your children. I think that's very important, because if you don't, then it's going to be some tension, all right? Whether you're coaching your son or your daughter or what. But anyway, those are my 3 rules from my dad and my parents. So, and they were very, very involved. I remember one day, one Saturday afternoon, me and my 3 brothers, we got out the car, you know, because we were all on 3 different baseball teams, and, you know, we get out of the station wagon, and my neighbor made a comment about our grass to my dad, and we could hear it. He said, hey, buddy, if you spend a little bit more time with your grass, you know, your lawn will look a little bit better. My dad had the greatest response. I didn't realize it at the time. He's like, well, I'm interested in raising my sons. I don't care about raising grass, you know? So that's what it was about for me, I think. I think we had a lot of success because my parents were involved. Okay, you guys are all parents, you're involved in your kids' lives, so being there for them in the right way, appropriately, is going to help them get to wherever they want to be. And the great thing about these sports, and you all should know this, like in order to be successful and on the court, or you want to be the smartest guy in the classroom, or you want to play an instrument or whatever, you got to have like some discipline. You got to work hard. You got to do the right thing. You got to work on your weaknesses, all those things. Okay, so we not only have to tell our kids that, but we have to show them. Well, I like to tell a story about my mom. My parents, there's so much, they were really involved in my life, my athletic life relative to our behavior. They never told me, oh, Byron, you know, should have scored more in that game, or you know, it was more like, I didn't like your behavior in that game. It was never about like, oh, you didn't, you know, you should have scored more, you should have hit more home runs. It was not that. It was like, I remember when I was younger, playing baseball, I had a little, not a confrontation, but the coach gave me the bat, and I snatched the bat from the coach. And I was like 9 years old. I didn't know what happened. After the game, my mom was like, I didn't like the way you did that. So they made me like write an apology letter to my coach and hand it to him the next day in practice. I was like, okay. You know, those little things kind of stuck with me. Now that I'm older, I kind of appreciate those things. So your kids don't appreciate that stuff yet, but we as adults do. So it's our job, if you want to give your kids every opportunity to be successful, to do little things like that. My mom, when I was getting recruited, my final 2 choices were Xavier and Villanova, okay? And at the time they had home visits. Villanova coach came in. They were coached by Rolly Massimino at the time. And he walked in with his 3 assistant coaches from Philadelphia, all thick Italian looking dudes, man. Hair slicked back, you know, dark shoes, 3-piece suits, walking in like the violins came on like when they walked into my house, right? Pinky ring, you know. He's like, yeah, Mrs. Larkin, this, that, and the other. You know, every assistant coach's last name ended with a vowel, you know. So I know my mom would like do anything to kind of protect me or ask any questions, and I saw her turn it as they're giving the speech, and then my mom was like, Coach Massimino, Philadelphia. She's like, you don't have any mob ties, do you? My dad was like, surely. I was like, well, I won't be going to Villanova, that's for sure. You know, that was it. But my parents would ask that because they were concerned. You know, they were that much involved. And then the other time when Xavier came in for my home visit, Bob Stack was the coach, and I don't know if anybody knows Bob Stack. He's big, loud mouth. I mean, he'd be in practice with a cigar, you know, smoking a cigar, like, all right, let's go dribble drive, you know, cursing at you up and down, up one side, down the other. And then as soon as he left, as soon as the door closed, my mom's like, I don't know where you're going, but you're not going to Xavier because I don't like that man, you know. So, but my mom and dad eventually let me make the decision on where I was going to go, just like my brothers as well, but they had a lot of input. So what I'm trying to tell you is, like, good parents are involved. You know, they're involved in their kids' decisions. They get up in their business, okay? That's your job as good parents, I believe. I believe, like, successful people all have had mentors and role models to help believe in themselves. When I was a sophomore at Moeller, I was on the JV team. I was averaging about 12 points a game. I always loved to play. I went to camps. I loved to play. And the last game of the regular season, the head coach came to me and said, Byron, we're going to bring you up for the varsity. I was like, okay. I was really nervous. I was so nervous. You know the difference between JV games and varsity games. Varsity, you know, you got everybody's there. You got the band. It's loud. You know, JV games, some people starting to trickle in. And I was so nervous. I missed like every layup in the layup line, man. I was just like freaked out. It was against Purcell Marion. So the game starts. I go to the farthest seat away from the coach possible. I got my back to him. We get down like 14-0. And I'm just like on the bench, like, whoa, thinking they butts kicked. I'm glad I'm not in the game. And I look at the corner of my eye, and the coach gets up and starts walking toward me. And I'm thinking, oh God, please don't put me in. Please don't put me in. Larkin, get in the game. I'm like, oh no. Checked in. I scored 29 points that night. And I was as surprised as anybody in the gym. I threw it up and it went in. Next game I scored 33. Next game I scored 35. And it was, my coaches believed in me. And I didn't even believe in myself at the time, but they gave me that nudge, that opportunity to kind of show what I can do. And that, I believe, kind of, after that I was like, okay, now I know what I'm supposed to do in my life. You know, I'm supposed to play basketball. That's what so it led to a lot of good things. So I'm saying, like, as parents, you know, as coaches, you need to help your kid to give them that nudge in the right way. Not drive them, but give them that nudge and that support. And coaches, I think, do things like emphasize little things, like playing the right way, like showing up on time, being reliable, being unselfish, being coachable. All those things are very important, okay? And I think as parents, we have to continue to do that, to share with our kids, to make sure they're not only playing basketball, but they're learning along the way, giving them tools to be successful. Also, realize that people are going to doubt your kids, they're going to doubt you. Be ready for it. I know a guy who told me when he was younger, he said, hey man, I want to play baseball, I want to be a Major League Baseball player. This is my brother Barry, right? He's only 15 months older than me. I don't understand the big deal. I can still hit the ball further than he can, but whatever, right? So he's like, I want to be, you know, I want to play in the Major League. I'm like, man, you ain't good enough to do that, you know? So he gets drafted out of high school, decides to go to college. After he goes to college, he gets drafted again by the Reds. 1 year into the minor leagues, the head, the scout, the manager, the scouting director for the Reds says, Barry, you're not good enough to make it as a shortstop. Your range, you're not fast enough, your arm's not strong enough, you will never make it in the major leagues as a shortstop. We want you to change and be a second baseman. Barry was like, no, I'm not gonna do that. He says, I'm either gonna make it or not make it as a shortstop. Okay, next year, called him up, played 19 years as a shortstop. So what that did, it really kind of motivated him. He used that to motivate him to anytime he was tired and didn't want to go to work and work at his craft or be better, that was like an ember inside of him, all right? So they doubted him, I doubted him, you know? So your kids, people are going to be doubting your kids. They're going to be hearing that, okay? So as parents, we got to realize that, hey, you got to encourage your kids, man. Like, hey, you can do this. I believe in you. But it's not magic. It's not just going to be like, all right, you're going to wake up and you're going to be the best player on the floor. You're not going to wake up and just like, oh, you're going to be the smartest guy in the classroom. It doesn't work that way. Like, being successful is not like magic. It's really simple. You got to work really hard for your opportunities to work at your craft, whatever it is. You know, if it's being a musician, if it's getting straight A's, if it's being a good basketball player, if it's playing football, baseball, whatever it is. And we have to like drill that into our kids and how important that is. I've got 2 daughters, and I coached them from when they were small to high school. And I never wanted to be one of those parents that like screamers or live vicariously through my kids. Just because I was Joe Jock didn't mean that my daughters had to be Joe Jock. And I learned a lot from coaching little girls. One, I realized that girls do what you tell them to do. You know, I'm like, what a concept. Because I know when I played and I was young, you know, we'd have the play, like, all right, we're gonna run this. We'd take 2 steps and I had already forgot what he said. I was like on my own deal. I know I'm just gonna get the ball and score. You know, girls don't do that. They like, you run this play, and I'm watching them. Wow, they're actually doing what I told them. This is incredible. So, the main 2 lessons I learned. Thanks. The main 2 lessons that I learned from coaching girls. Number 1 is you can't assume anything. Like when I was coaching, I mean, I had a practice plan. I was organized. I coached at St. John's in Deer Park. 3rd grade girls, and I noticed like 5 games in the year we were like 0-5. We were just getting blasted every game. You know, I tried to keep a good attitude. So I noticed 5 games into the year we're on offense having the ball, and I'm noticing like Alyssa's like guarding her man. And I'm just like, interesting. Next practice, I said, everybody come in. I said, raise your hands if you know the difference between offense and defense. Half the hands went up. I said, that is my fault as a coach, right? So when the number 1 lesson I learned, do not assume anything, all right? You have to tell them everything, okay? That's the big lesson I learned from coaching girls. The second lesson I learned is not every girl has the same level of commitment. We were playing later on that year, 3rd grade girls, and at the end of regulation, the score was tied 12-12. Girls were like, well, okay, let's go home. I'm like, no, we have to stay and play. You should have heard what was said in that huddle. You hear, as opposed to like, come on, let's do this. I'm like, come on, let's go, we can do this. They're like, oh no, I don't want to play. I got homework. Do I have to do this again? You know, I mean, like, can we just like give them the victory? I'm like, no, we have to play. So come on. I'm trying to encourage these girls. I'm giving them my best. And after I talked to them and I said, all right, we got any questions? And I was like, then Ann raised her hand. She's like, can we be called the Dolphins? I said, we can be called anything you want. Let's just go get this victory, okay? Which we won that game. So, what I learned, that was the second lesson I learned. Not everybody's level of commitment is the same, okay? So coaching girls was really good for me, because again, I came from a family of boys, and that serious stuff to a different perspective on coaching and raising girls. I think coaches should do 3 important things, okay? And you all should be looking for this. If you're coaching yourself, or if you are a parent just kind of watching, number 1, your coaches should be drilling the fundamentals, okay? And that's easier said than done because everybody wants to win. I don't like losing every game. I've had seasons where I lost every game as a coach. Never happened as a player. But you're trying to drill fundamentals. It's good for your kids, their future. It may not be good for your win-loss record. And that's kind of hard to accept as guys who like to win, but it's the best thing for your child. So if you are listening or if you are coaching or you listen to your coach who's coaching your kid, they should be teaching fundamentals. You don't want them to just roll out the basketball, oh, you're the best player here, you shoot every time, while the other two kids are kind of in the corner over here. You want them, again, I think every parent most parents thinks their kid's gonna be the next LeBron James or whatever. But the truth of the matter, they're not, okay? So what we can do is try to teach the fundamentals and have a good experience from sports, okay? And basketball is a great game to, I think, that you can learn a good lesson. So number one, teach the fundamentals. 2, emphasize the little things. Like not as much on the court or basketball related, but little things like showing up on time. Okay. The idea of earning playing time. Okay. Because the real world, we know that it's just not butterflies and cotton candy out there. All right. Classroom is not like that. So we're trying to help our kids become better kids. We are parents. We want our kids to be successful. Our coaches need to be doing certain things. Emphasize the little things. Being unselfish. Sharing the ball. Rooting for your teammates. Like we're running sprints, after you're done with your sprint and you're just standing in the corner and your other teammates are running up and down, I used to, as a coach, say, come on, root for your team. This is a team, okay? So that team concept is very important. So your coach should be doing that. Having discipline, being coachable. We all know how important that is. This is relationships, whether it's your coach relationship, where it's a relationship with your boyfriend, your girlfriend, or whatever. You have to be coachable. If you have a job, you're gonna have a boss. You work for yourself, your clients are your boss. Okay, so being coachable, what this sport can teach you skills that will help you be successful in life. All right, so as fathers, as mothers of kids who are athletes, we need to expect our coaches to be teaching our kids this, and you as parents to be kind of reiterating that. So those are very important. And the last thing is realize that your kids are closely watching you if you're a coach and you're a parent. You cannot tell them to behave and then you act like a fool. You just can't. And then be surprised when they act like you do. My mom used to always say, do as I say, not do as I do. Wrong. But realize if you have a coach and he said, hey, you guys have some discipline, take it, have some poise when the game's not going your way, and you see this coach going absolutely bananas on screaming at the officials every second of the game, it's just like, dude, your coach should not be behaving that way. If he is, your kid is closely watching him. Closely watching him. So if you see that in your coach, that is not a good environment. That's not a good thing. All right, so realize if you're coaching that your kids are closely watching you. They're really watching you more than they're listening. They're going to model your behavior. A coach is a role model. A coach is the father. When you drop your kids off and you leave, the coach is kind of the dad. So you want a coach that's going to be doing the right thing, is going to be acting and behaving the way you would want to as their father. All right, so those things are important. Practice what you preach on and off the court. And kind of in closing, what I just want to tell you is just like, we need to realize that we can have a profound influence on young people's lives. all right, and to help them for whatever that next step is in life. All right, and that's very, very important. And I think as dads, we need to realize that. And you all have to recognize and to put your kids in the best possible position. And it's been nice for me because I've seen both sides of it. I've seen the super, super serious side and then the fun side. So hold your coaches accountable. They're helping to formulate your young children's minds with what they say and, more importantly, how they act. And again, it's about basketball, it's about baseball, it's about sports, but it's about everything else that's involved in there to help them become better prepared for what life is going to have in store for them. Because we all know it's not easy out there, you know. So the better prepared they are, the better discipline they have, the better that they are equipped to deal with adversity, to have impulse control is important. And you can learn all that in sports, and that's why sports have been one of the best things that ever happened to me in my life. So that's about all I had.
We've got about 10 or 15 more minutes, but I'm going to open it up, let you guys answer some questions. I just want to piggyback off some of the things you said. Like, from my experiences of being a dad and a coach and a teacher, I always tell my players, and you know, I'll even tell my wife sometimes, let coaches coach, let teachers teach, let parents be parents. So like, I always tell my parents this at the beginning of the year at my high school, when we have a meeting. If you tell your son to be home at midnight, and I tell him to be home at 2 in the morning, are you going to be upset with me? And their response is, yes. They said, that's good. So when he's with me at school, and we're on the basketball court, and I tell him to do something, and you tell him to do something else, I'm upset with you. Okay, so let coaches coach, number one. Teachers, I tell my players, that teacher is in charge. Okay, when you go in the classroom, let them teach. Don't say, oh, they didn't put the grade in, or she doesn't know what she's doing. She's in charge. Okay, she's in charge. So let teachers teach. And then I always tell them, when you go home, or when you leave the court, the field, or the classroom, and you're in the community, now you have to listen to your parents, or you got to make good decisions for yourself. So I always live by those things. I always tell my parents, let coaches coach, let teachers teach, let parents be parents. And we live by those 3 rules. Then the other thing I'll say that he was saying about different levels of commitment, I've learned for me, basketball helped me to be successful. It helped me to learn things and to experience things I wouldn't have if I wasn't successful or my team wasn't successful. So what I've learned through my kids is my 3, aren't going to maybe like basketball. Does that hurt a little bit? Yes. But I've learned to live not through them, but let them be interested in what they want. My daughter likes to play tennis. I never played tennis growing up. My son likes to golf. I didn't golf growing up. So those are the things we should let them decide. And then like Byron said, just keep encouraging them, no matter what it is. Let them play video games. 8 hours of video games? No. But if they've been going to camp all day and they want to come home for a couple hours and play Fortnite, let them play Fortnite. Because my goal is for my kids to want to play high school basketball and middle school basketball. If I'm always drilling them, that's going to get them away from the sport. They might not be the best player, but I think they're going to learn things from the coaches that they're going to be able to apply in life and to help them be a good business person. Or, you know, I always tell my players too, being on time is very important. When my players aren't on time, I get on them. They say, oh, I'm going to own my own business. And I said, that's fine. You're going to have employees. What are you going to do as a business owner then when your employees are late? It's hurting your business, just like our basketball program. So I think being on time is very important. Finishing what you do, I think, is important as well. All right, so those are some of the things I've learned as a coach, as a dad, and as a teacher. So rebound, pass. How about take charges? How about were you in the game at the end of the game? To me, that's important. Were you in at the end of the game? That's when your best 5 players are going to be in. So those are things that I picked up on that I try to use at my school. Anybody got any questions? We got about, I don't know, 10 or 11 minutes. Anybody got any questions for Byron? Go ahead, Stacy. So Stacey wants to know if any of the Xavier players, current players, ask him for any insight.
Do they take advantage of me and my experience, whatever? I don't even think they even. I ain't think they know who the hell I am. I don't. And I'm not. I was never one to be like, hey man, let me tell you, I'm Byron Larkin. I'm just like, man, I let the coaches coach. Now, if the coaches come to me and say, hey Byron, can you talk to this such and such guy, I will do it. I mean, I travel with them every game, every home game, every way, yeah. A couple of guys have come up to me, like last year, J.P. McCure came up to me and said, hey Byron, what do you think? And I tell him what I think, But I'm real careful not to step on the coach's shoes because college basketball, there is the level of to detail is ridiculous. They record every practice. They record obviously every game. They can give you a clip of every made shot that you had on the year at the end of the year. More importantly, every missed shot.
I'm just curious what four brothers that were Joe Jocks.
Yep.
Was mom and dad Joe Jocks?
No. My dad, he grew up in Meridian, Mississippi in the 50s, and he was, they didn't allow him to play sports at the high school, so he played kind of in the sandlot, if you will. He did play 1 year college basketball at the Catholic University in Washington, D.C. He played there 1 year and decided he didn't like it, so he went to Xavier University in Louisiana and studied chemistry, and that's where he met my mom. My mom's from Houston, Texas. They met there and then moved here. So, yeah.
What would you attribute your four brothers being attracted to sports? Is it the nudge or?
It's just the competition. My oldest brother, Mike, I just grew up going to games, man. As long as I could walk, like, all right, we're going to Mike's basketball game, baseball game, football game. So I grew up, that's all I knew. I mean, every day we go in the basement with my three brothers, and it was like World War III, man. Like, whether we were playing knee football or Nerf basketball or whatever, it was just the competition. He set the tone, and I just wanted to beat my brothers, man. I just did. It was weird. My older brothers, they gave no mercy either. Like, I play basketball out, like, in the backyard with them, and like, you're playing with your little buddy. You're like, oh, after you're out there 30 minutes, like, here, I'm trying to get the ball. They're just like, dude, you can't get the ball. You just ain't gonna get it. They wouldn't even give me the ball. Like, here you go, here, take a shot. I play ball for weeks out there and never touch it. They just be, So that really helped me, like, to give me my grit, my competition, and that really helped me. So when I was older, man, I was like, my older brothers, that helped me. Michael was mean, Barry was, they were both mean as dogs. And I just kind of grew up with it, So, but it's a competition with my brothers.
What's your opinion on middle school, high school athletes being multi-sport athletes or special athletes?
What's my opinion of multi-sport athletes? I think it's a great thing. It's the formula that worked for me and my family. All my brothers played baseball, basketball, football, all year round. The favorite sport was whatever sport we were playing at the time. I mean, when we were younger, we all had our favorites. Basketball was always my favorite, but I played football in high school. I got recruited for football heavier than I did for basketball. Barry was a really good football player. I mean, he was a good basketball player. He couldn't shoot or dribble or pass, but he was really he could run and jump. I mean, he was a really, really good football player. So much that Bo Schembeckler wanted him to play football when he was up in Michigan. And then my oldest brother Michael was good at everything. So I think it's important to play all, to give you a different experience playing all three. Now when you get now my junior year, I stopped playing baseball. It was just football and basketball. I knew I wanted to play basketball. Actually, I wasn't gonna play football my senior year, but my mom, when I told her I wasn't gonna play, she bitched at me so much that I like, all right, Mom, I will play. I ended up being a parade All-American in football that year, and I just love to play, So, but I think it's healthy because I don't want you to. I had a lot of friends who would burn their kids out, just like Coach was talking about, just because they were on him. Like, all right, come on, let's go work. Let's go work. Let's go in the, let's go in the batting cage. My daughter had some friends whose dad just burnt. Their kids were really good. He had them doing fast pitch softball lessons when they were younger, always in the cage, and he was always leading that. You see him, and then the kids were behind him, dragging the bat. Like, it should be flipped. If your kid wants that, then you're like, come on, let's go. But you don't want to be dragging them, man, because they're young, and so I don't want you shouldn't drive it. The kids should drive it. Whether they want to be one sport, two sport, or three sport. That's my opinion.
Just to add to that, I found this too, like when they were a little bit younger, if I told them or asked them to go out to the court and play, they wouldn't do it. But if I'm already out there shooting and they walk out, then they want to play. So it's almost like if you make them play, they don't want to. It's kind of like dragging the bat. But if you're already in the backyard and you're shooting, they'll come out, Dad, what are you doing? Just playing a little basketball. You want to play? Yeah, sure. Can I play? Come on. So it's different. It's also your delivery and your approach with your kids. If you make them, they know that you're making them. If you're just out there shooting around, they might come out there and ask, can I play too? And that's another way that I found to get them out there with you. It's just something I found. Like when I used to make them go out there, I try to make them do workouts like my dad did for me. He'd have it written out. This before, keyboard, typewriter, it was all written out. Like, how many did you make out of 5? Right to left, crossover, shoot from the elbow, shoot from the 3. I mean, I had to record all my stuff, and wouldn't say I was made, but I was encouraged to do it, and that's where my love came. But I think with every kid is different, and you got to find that kind of that happy medium with your child. I got about one more question.
Unless you have girls.
Yeah, girls are totally different.
They're smart enough to detect what you're doing. I know my daughters did. I tried that.
They'll write you
Come on,
letters.
let's go shoot. They're like, Dad, you're trying to get us to work out. He caught me.
Girls are a little bit more sensitive. I think you guys know they'll write you letters and
they're just smarter.
Or
They're sharper.
Or they'll text you now. One more. Anybody else? Yeah.
What do you tell undersized basketball players? Kids that are growing up undersized.
Undersized. What do I tell undersized basketball players? Just tell them to YouTube Spud Webb. Spud Webb, like a 5'8" guy, played in the NBA for like 15 years, man. Tell them there's always a spot on the team. He can tell you this: for someone who's a dog on defense, who shares the basketball and who's tough. It makes good decisions. You don't have to be, you can be 5 foot nothing or 8 foot, it doesn't matter. So usually those kind of players are smaller. So that's what I tell them, keep working hard, man. Find players who are undersized, who are successful. If the kid likes watching the NBA, if the kid likes watching an undersized baseball player, find some undersized baseball player, YouTube them. Like, boom, check this out. This could be you. That's what I would do. Any other questions?
Last one, then
Yep.
we'll go.
Wondering if you had any kind of role in your nephew playing in the NBA, what your relationship was like with him.
Good question. Do I have any role in my nephew playing in the NBA? It's funny. We all have problems, man. Like, my Barry's son, who's a Hall of Fame baseball player, called me and said, Byron, can you help me with Shane? Shane doesn't want to listen to me. Of like, he said, Barry's trying to help him get to the next level, right? And this is when he was in high school. Shane was like, Dad, this is basketball. You don't know anything about this. So he wouldn't listen to his dad. So he called me. So every summer, I would go down, I would fly down to Orlando on Barry's dime. And we would spend a couple weeks going to AAU games. He would play AAU. Barry would record the games on video. We would go back to the room or go back to his house. Shane would put ice on his knees and we would watch that video. And the thing about it, Shane was like hungry. I didn't have to, it wasn't us like dragging him. It's like, come on. He says, Uncle, tell me, what's this? What's that? What's that? He was asking a lot of questions. He was hungry to understand. And video I think is the best teaching tool. But you can tell your kid, like, if you tell your kid, like, you're really not trying that well, sometimes you're not aware of it. The tape never lies, man. Just record your kids, man. If you're saying one thing and they're like, no, I'm fine. And you hit the play button. They're just standing around like this. You know, so. But anyway, with Shane, he was hungry. He wanted to learn. So every summer, I went down there. I did that for about 6 years, and it was great. It was a great experience. He ended up signing with DePaul out of high school. DePaul, who did? Because Barry wanted him to go to Chicago. He didn't want to do that, so he ended up getting out of that and ended up playing in Miami for 2 years. He was the 18th pick in the draft 4 years ago, and he played with Boston last year. So it was a dream come true. It was great. I never had a son, so I kind of lived vicariously through that. I was really happy that he asked me to do that, and it was great. We have a tremendous relationship today as a result. So.
Appreciate Byron coming. Look back, Barry. I just think it's good to get perspective from people, especially because he's around the college guys a lot. He's around the coaches when Chris was there, and I know you and Chris are good friends, and they bounce ideas off of each other. I just think it's good. Like, I could go on YouTube, and I go on every night. I watch stuff like this. Like, I watch about offense, defense. I like listening to coaches talk because I think that's how we get better. You know, we learn, just like you said, watch YouTube for your kids. That's the best way for kids to learn new drills. They love YouTube. Go with their iPad out, they'll have it all out. And they'll watch it and go do it. I do the same thing. So
I do that too. I still play basketball 3 days a week at Xavier. Before I play, I'll watch a YouTube video on Steph Curry's ball handling moves or James Harden's step back. YouTube is a great thing. I think it's a
I just don't understand how he was 6'3" and made it, and you were 6'3" and couldn't make it.
Crazy.
Yeah, they were talking about him the other day, but the thing I forgot to say was he was an All-American in football. I forgot to mention that. And so he could have went for football as well. And I think it's important that they play every sport because I think different muscles are used. You keep using the same muscles all the time, you're going to break them down, and they get bored. Just like they've been here for 3 hours, they're bored. So it's starting to get to that time where they need to eat and get in and moving. So I appreciate him coming, offering some insight. We're going to do the slam dunk competition. There are 12 guys. My suggestion would be make sure you stretch. Make sure you stretch. The baskets will be 8 feet. 8 feet. Byron's going to be one of the judges. Byron's going to be a judge. All right, so we'll head back over here. Thank you.